Howdy everybody, welcome back to the channel, the main event here. Today we're going to be going over all the starter Pokemon and what I would give them for Christmas in the form of either an accomplishment or some kind of change or a buff, right? The categories you can see on the left are Hall of Fame Ceremony, World Championship, New Ability, Stat Redistribution, Retyping, or Christmas Came Early, which I'll explain them all. We're going to be going mostly in order here with a couple of things in the front that don't normally belong there, and I'll tell you why. So question of the day, let me know what you would give every starter Pokemon for Christmas in the form of an accomplishment or a buff, or if you'd like to give them a toy because you just think Pokemon are friends. Anyway, Christmas came early for Typhlosion, Samurott, and Decidueye because they already got new abilities, they got stat redistributions, and they got new retyping, right? They already got those things, so they kind of didn't fit here on the list, and they haven't really accomplished much on their own for me to say they deserve a World Championship or a Hall of Fame Ceremony, right? So the Christmas came early for those guys already. And let's see what they do with their new gifts. With that being said, I put these two in the front because they're going right to the Hall of Fame ceremony. Rillaboom and Incineroar are world champions. Their stats are great for what they do. Their abilities are great for what they do. Their typing is perfect for what they do. They've won championships and everything like that. So they don't really need anything else, right? So let's put those guys in the Hall of Fame. Let them retire. Let them, you know, drift off into the sunset. They have wonderful careers. So the next four are actually going to be in the same tier. So Pikachu, Venusaur, Blastoise, and Charizard, and probably Charizard up front, right? And Venusaur after that. Realistically, gotta move back this way, yeah. Pikachu last, because these things, while they haven't got any permanent changes in a sense of like, they've got a Mega, so they got stat distributions, they got different typings for Charizard at least, and for Blastoise, different abilities. They kind of got all those things. They have a ton of results as well, though. But they're all missing a world championship from their banners, right? Like last year, not last year, in the year of Sword and Shield, Charizard came second at Worlds. I think Venusaur and Blastoise have won Worlds in like senior divisions, but they have not won it in the Masters division at all. And they all kind of just deserve to have that as their final send-off before we send them into the Hall of Fame. Same as Pikachu. It probably will never win a world championship, but that's what I would give it for Christmas because I think it kind of deserves one. It's put in its work from day one till now, right? So let's go on to more diverse things. So we're gonna go into Gen 2. Like we said, Typhlosion is already in Christmas Came Early. So Meganium is gonna get a new ability. Meganium has decent bulk, pretty good bulk actually, but doesn't do anything, right? Like Leech Seed is not really viable in competitive Pokemon, but it has like healing moves like Synthesis. I think I would give it Triage so it can get +3 priority on healing. So it can lose like priority Giga Drains to heal itself, priority Synthesis to heal itself, moves to heal its partner. I think Triage on a bulky grass type like this would be great for Meganium and actually give it something to do, because right now it does absolutely nothing. For our friend Feraligatr though, I would give him a retyping. The reason I get a retyping because its stats are actually pretty good because it has like Dragon Dance. It has a pretty good attack stat, pretty decent bulk. 78 speed is fine. At like +1, its speed outspeeds like base 130 Pokemon if you have like a Jolly Nature on this thing. Sheer Force is already a good ability. So I think a retyping would be good. I would give it a dark typing. Caveat before I continue with the typing stuff, I'm not going to change any of their base typing, right? So it's more like a dual typing. So this would be Water Dark going forward, right? So then it would have like Dragon Dance, Stab, Waterfall, and then Stab, Crunch. Waterfall and Crunch both benefit from Sheer Force. So Life Orb, Sheer Force, Dragon Dance, those things. And all of a sudden you have like a mon that does a lot of good damage on more than one coverage option. So I think that would actually be really, really good for it and make it way more viable. Make it like a really good Dragon Dancer. For our boy Swampert here, what he needs, for me, I know people were probably thinking retyping. I'd actually give him a new ability for Christmas. Why? Because I think Swampert with Sap Sipper would be a very good Pokemon. It gets like Yawn, it gets Flip Turn. It gets offensive coverage like Liquidation and High Horsepower. But I think Yawn, Flip Turn, maybe a Berry for recovery. So for pivoting and like status, I think with some bulk, I think it'd be a good Pokemon if it had Sap Sipper. Because it's 4 times weakness to grass when not being immunity, right? That thing holds it back so much. And then you could switch it into powder moves like Spore. So it has a way better role to fill if it had like ability like Sap Sipper. I think everything else on it is kind of fine. Sap Sipper would kind of save its life. Next up is going to be Blaziken. Blaziken definitely needs a stat redistribution. And for the stat redistribution mons, I'm actually going to show their stats and why they're getting a redistribution from me. And the reason for a lot of them will kind of be the same. They have this mixed attacker syndrome, right? And typically you kind of just want to do one or the other in competitive Pokemon. Having a 110 special attack and a 120 attack stat is very, very wasteful. when you can take a Pokemon like this that needs either more bulk or more speed. It's a better physical attack in my opinion anyway, because they have like Brave Bird, Close Combat, Flare Blitz, all that stuff. I would definitely take its special attack. Maybe dump some of it into speed, a lot of it into speed actually. And maybe even dump some of it into health. So, because you're going to take recoil on moves like Brave Bird and Flare Blitz, maybe even up its attack a little bit, but definitely just drop that special attack way down, like maybe even min-max like they do to Paradox Pokemon, because this 110 special attack is just wasted stats in my opinion. Next up is going to be Septile, who I actually thought might need a retyping in its dual typing. It could probably stand for some other maybe new abilities and stat redistributions as well. But I think a dual typing would be good for it. One, because Blaziken and Swampert both got dual typings in their final forms, but Septile did not for some strange reason. So when I was thinking of the typings it could get, I was thinking like giving it an electric type dual typing, plus its grass typing. Because it would then be neutral into receiving like flying type hits where it's weak to right now. And it would also hit those flying types backs that it can't touch with moves like Leaf Blade. And then like it'll be an electric type that's not weak to ground, for example, because grass resists. It gives you a lot more neutral offensive coverage. And you're not really adding any weaknesses because, like I said, electric is only weak to ground, which grass covers for. So essentially you are just adding more offensive coverage on the Pokemon into more neutral targets, because you can't hit like steel types with grass, you can't hit fire types with grass, you can't hit poison types with grass, you can't hit bug types with grass. So I think having an extra offensive type would be really, really good for it. And Empoleon, surprisingly enough, I think actually needs another world championship. It has one, but it was so long ago that people don't kind of really like respect that it's won worlds before. I think one more would really be something that needs to push itself into like a more respected tier of starter. So, because with two, you can't really say two were necessarily fluky compared to like the one that just happened in a very specific kind of setting, right? So I think a world championship for Empoleon would be great for it. So let's give my friend Empoleon a world championship. And Fernet needs a redistribution. You'll notice with the fire fighting types, they have a very common trend. So in Fernape, another one where it has the mixed attacker syndrome, right? You don't need 104 attack and special attack because you're not really doing both. I think its typing is kind of fine offensively. As you can see, it has some decent resistances, right? It is like neutral to like stuff like fairy and stuff like that too. Even like Iron Fist getting like a basic boost to power and punching moves is fine. So like, why don't we take this special attack, dump it into speed and attack, and then all of a sudden you have a Pokemon that is not wasting a bunch of points in a stat that it doesn't ever use. I think you could even, if you really wanted to, take some out of like the bulk and make it even faster and stronger, because 76, 71, 71 is not great anyway. So like losing 5, maybe 5 on each of them doesn't really like affect it much. Transversely, you could take like 40 points out of special attack and put like 15 and 15 in the speed and attack, and then go 10 HP more if you want, or 5 and 5 in the bulk to make it a little bit sturdier. But whatever you want to do, I just know we're wasting that special attack stat, and this Pokemon could be a lot better with the redistribution. All right, so next up is Torterra. And Torterra, I decided to give a new ability. And I think for Torterra, it'd be good to have the ability Filter. I was thinking like, oh, Solid Rock doesn't fit because it's not a rock type. And what's the other one? Shadow Shield doesn't fit because it's not like a ghost psychic type like or anything like that. I was like, ooh, Filter. Filter does fit. My one of my friends, Cypher, Jun, told me that he thinks Filter does fit because it's like it's a tree Pokemon, and, you know, fills out that carbon dioxide. Filter reduces super effective moves. Right now it has Shell Armor, which is fine because they don't get crit, but like crit is a rare chance, and like unless you're doing gimmicky Amnesia, Body Press, Amnesia, Iron Defense stuff, then you're not really getting that much value out of Shell Armor. Versus like a Pokemon with this kind of bulk, reducing super effective damage, especially when it has like that 4-time weakness to ice, would be really, really good to help it make it a better Pokemon in my opinion. So I think giving it Filter would be a nice Christmas gift for our friend Torterra. And Boar, like I said, it's a common theme for the fire fighting types. They did it 3 times in a row, guys. I don't understand why, but it's not my fault. Stat redistribution, because once again, we have like mixed attack. Now for this one, right, instead of actually making it like way faster, because it already suffers that it does the same things as like as Blaziken and Infernape, but like worse. I think I would actually make it bulkier. I would drop the special attack and maybe even the speed, or maybe leave the speed, but drop the special attack and put it into the defenses. So like drop like 40 points and make it 110, 85, 85. Now all of a sudden is a bulky Pokemon that's an attacker. And even if you wanted to drop it out of attack and make it bulky and make it a special attacker, that's fine too. But I think increasing the bulk to fit his big statures theme will be great for this Pokemon to make it more usable, because right now it just doesn't do any one thing good enough. Whereas if you made it bulkier, it's a Pokemon that can take hits and then also dish them out. Let's see, at least that's my opinion. Superior. Superior, I think also needs a distribution in my opinion. Because yeah, it does. It needs a redistribution because its stats are stupid. So like you see here, special attack, which is the stat it wants to use, is 75. I know they probably were thinking back when they made it, they wanted to break contrary too much, but like it's kind of fine, right? Because you need to be able to at least do damage on the first turn. Not being able to do damage on the first turn just makes contrary kind of useless because it's gonna get destroyed anyway. I would definitely drop some from attack and put it into special attack, even if it got to like, yeah, if you dropped like, I would probably min-max this thing. I would drop it by like maybe 35 points because it doesn't even have like arms. What is it attacking with its tail? And then make it like 105 special attack. At least that plus a choice specs or a life orb item or a miracle seed plus like leaf storm and its speed could make it way more viable. But like as it stands, it's just not strong enough. Even at +2 on the first one, you get it. That's coming off a 75 base attack stat, special attack stat, which is not great. So I think changing that around for sure would help it a lot, like so much. so much. For Christmas you get a stat redistribution. Ooh, this one was actually really cool. So Delphox gets a new ability. Delphox gets Psychic Surge for Christmas, so that way it sets Psychic Terrain, so now you don't gotta like waste using like a DD phase a terrain setter. It's faster than Tapu Lele. It also gets stuff that Tapu Lele doesn't, like fire coverage for steel types which resist psychic, right? And then also you get like Will-O-Wisp for physical attackers. So like it gives a lot of tools that would be a lot better if it had psychic terrain, because then it's not getting like faked out and stuff like that. It's blocking all the other forms of priority, giving a Pokemon like this, which is generally kind of fast but would normally lose to a lot of priority, a chance to shine. And like Psychic Surge takes a Pokemon like Indeedee that is not really that out of this world good and makes it like really strong because it just boosts on attack and it protects the partner a lot. So I think that's a really good thing for it. Oh, the reason I keep skipping over Eevee is because Eevee did not become a starter until like last like couple years in Let's Go, and it was only a one-time thing. And like I'm not trying to fall into a trap where I have to do Eevee and then all the Eevee starters, because then they count as starters too because the evolutions count. No thanks, we're ignoring that. On to the next Pokemon. Chestnut, we're taking the Pokemon and retyping it. Grass fighting is kind of horrible. Like you're weak to psychic, you're 4 times weak to flying, you're weak to fire. You are, what do you see you're weak to? You're weak to fire, flying, fighter, fire, flying, psychic. I think you're neutral to poison, but you're weak to fairy. And then you resist stuff like ground, I guess, and you kind of are neutral to poison. It's just not good enough. I would change it to grass steel and make it like a more offensive Ferrothorn. Ferrothorn is a very bulky Pokemon with a ton of resistance. Like grass steel resists like everything, or it's neutral to like everything. It's just weak to like fighting and fire, I want to say off the top of my head, or the types is weak to, but like everything else is neutral or resisted. I think that would make it really good. It's not as bulky as Ferrothorn, but like I said, it has good bulk. It has like a bulletproof ability, so it has some immunities, and also you would be more offensive than Ferrothorn, right? So I think it would be a really good thing for it to have. Oh, so these next, this one, and you'll see a trend with these two, a new ability, but not necessarily a new ability. Just give it Protean back to normal. That Protean change was not needed. It made these Protean Pokemon worse. Please fix it, Game Freak. We are begging you. Primarina also gets a new ability. It has Liquid Voice, which is fine, but I think Pixelate would be better for it. Something I was talking about with some friends as well. My guys, like I said, Cypher, my guy Jackson, shout out to you guys. I think, who else was in the group at the time? Let me know in the comments if you were there, because I remember I was talking to those two guys mostly when I was doing this tier list in my head. Primarina would get Pixelate. Pixelate would boost all this fairy type, boost all the normal type moves that it gets by changing them to a fairy type, so it gets stabbed, and then giving it like an attack boost on top of it, right? So like Terra Blast would be stronger than like Moonblast. I didn't learn that until I was doing this and we calced it. Terra Blast is actually stronger than Moonblast with Pixelate. Because fairy type moves don't get the buff. You can get like Stab, Hyper Beam, You get moves that are better for your Hyper Voice becomes a fairy type, which is probably better offensively than Liquid Voice, like water. And you get like other water type moves anyway. So having stab on Hyper Voice for fairy coverage versus water is probably better for this Pokemon overall. So let's go ahead and give that thing Pixelate for Christmas. Like I said, this is a trend with the Protean Pokemon. This one's Libero, but it's the same thing. It got nerfed, put it back to normal. Simple. You saw so many of these problems. If you could just change the type the way you wished every single turn. Oh, this one also gets a new ability, but this one we are giving Snipe Shot. No, it's not Snipe Shot. It has Snipe Shot as an attack. We're giving it adaptability. Adaptability would increase its stab damage. I think making it stronger in that way by increasing its output without relying on crits, which you're never going to get without like a focus energy anyway, it's going to be really good for it, especially because it's like a base 80, 100% accurate move that can't be redirected by like water moves. It ignores abilities, and with Scald's new limited distribution, that would be like the premier like water type move because Hydro Pump always misses. And with adaptability, I'm pretty sure it actually probably like would hit like Hydro Pump on a regular Pokemon anyway. So I think that'd be great for it. Adaptability Snipe Shots would actually make this thing kind of worthwhile in certain weaker formats. Like I said, Protean, put it back to normal. Meowscarada was robbed. They didn't even get a chance to have real Protean, so give it real Protean. Quaquaval is another Pokemon that gets a redistribution. So I think its typing is kind of okay. It gets it because it's good offensive coverage, right? Kind of hit everything. Do I have it up? Yes, I do. The problem is Moxie is a good ability. Shout out to my brother Boosted. But Moxie's a good ability that, you know, it boosts the attack stat every time you get a knockout. But it's too weak to do it, right? Its bulk is not like high enough to stay on the field that long. And its speed is not fast enough to get those knockouts right away. Yeah, it has Aqua Step. I would redistribute it in a way to just make it stronger. Even if you're scared that making it faster would be too much, just make its offensive attack stat higher. Just make it like 130, like just 10 points, something so it can pick up more knockouts quicker, and maybe a little bit faster too, honestly, because they're still not getting its hits off. Make it a little bit faster so that you can get the big hits off with a little bit more strength. Now all of a sudden you're getting the Aqua Step speed boost and you're getting the Moxie boost, and now its Pokemon is all of a sudden actually good. Right now it sucks. It doesn't do anything. It hasn't done anything. It's pretty whack. And last but not least, what am I going on with my words today? It's Skeledirge. Skeledirge is also going to get a redistribution because its stats are kind of wonky in a sense. You would think it's like it'd be a much bulkier Pokemon. It's very physically bulky, but its special defense leaves a little bit to be desired for something that you probably might not invest that much special defense in, and you're probably not going to get this Pokemon in a Assault Vest anyway. Fire Ghost is good typing offensively and defensively. Like, I can't think of anything that resists Fire and Ghost. Any single type that resists both, I should say, because there are Pokemon with abilities that resist both and dual typing that can resist both, like Fire Dark, for example. But you look at even like the type chart, you see it gets like a lot of resistances. What, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 resistances and 2 immunities, right? So 9 things that don't hit it for anything at all or for much. 4 weaknesses is fine, and everything else is neutral. I think I would drop some out of the speed, make it a little bit slower, maybe about like 15, make it like 51 so it can still outspeed those base 50s, and then make the special defense 90. And everything else is fine on it, honestly. I think its special attack, that's fine. I think its HP and defense are fine. I think, like I said, you can drop the speed instead of, and make it like more of like a Trick Room Mon, or like a Mon that can outspeed other slow Mons outside of Trick Room. And yeah, I think it's fine for it, honestly. It doesn't really need much else. You could even drop the attack stat if you want, but it's already pretty low at 75 in a sense where like it's not really, the special attack stat is not messing up the special attack stat, right? Like the other mixed attackers, it's definitely not a mixed attack. So I think this, like dropping the speed, or if you want to drop the attack stat and putting it into special defense, is more than fine. Like I said, Eevee, you don't count. Anyway, let me know what you guys think of the list. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Is there any Pokemon that you would like to move around on the list? Otherwise, like I said, just tell me question of the day, what would you give each of these Pokemon for Christmas? Whether it's through my criteria or your own criteria, or if you want to give them something nice for Christmas, like a coffee mug or something, who knows? Otherwise, thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for smashing that like button. Thank you guys for being subscribed, and I'll see you guys in the next video.